Hi, this is Blake at Human Factor, and we make podcasts for associations easy in 3 ways. Just remember WWW. First, the why. Why are we creating this podcast? And are there any others like it? This will help us implement a strategy for success and help find a way to integrate the podcast into your existing strategy. The next is workflow. We have to figure out a workflow to get the show recorded. Whether you want to come to our studio, record on the road, or record from your office, we've done it all, so we can figure out what's best for you and what fits your budget. Last is the what, as in what to do with this. Since now we have goals defined in the strategy and some content created, we can talk about how to promote the show and maximize this content. We can figure out what social media platforms and different ways to boost it to the listenership. At Human Factor, we love helping membership-based organizations with their podcasts and add value to their community. For more tips and tricks, free videos and articles about podcasting, go to humanfactor.net.
Welcome to Association Chat, produced by Amplified Growth and Human Factor, talking about all things association, nonprofit, and anything else that pops into my mom's head. And now, here is your host, Kiki L'Italian.
All right. I'm so excited. Blake, oh my gosh, it's another week. Another week. Another glorious association chat.
I forgot to push a button, though. Hold on.
Hey, Mom, can we go to Hot Topic when you get home?
Oh my God. She just wants more and more. What's going on with all of that?
More
yes,
money.
Yes, more money. More money. Everybody wants that.
More money.
You know, it's a funny thing. So in the association space, we are talking about community all month long for Association Chat. Lots of good stuff. And today I'm really excited because we're going to be talking with someone whom I think is absolutely fascinating. I had the good fortune of meeting him in person and actually speaking with him on stage at ASAE's XDP 1 or 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, Eric Kuhn is a successful entrepreneur sitting at the intersection of media, entertainment, and technology.
Whoa.
Yes. Most recently, he helped start and run Layer 3 TV, a next-generation cable provider that sold to T-Mobile. Previously, and this is the part that everybody gets really super excited about.
Yeah, what's that?
He was Hollywood's first social media agent at United Talent Agency, where he represented some of the industry's top writers, directors, actors, and producers on investments, digital strategy, and social media.
So if I need an agent, this is my guy, huh? That's what you're saying?
I don't know if he'd agree with. You'll have to talk to him later.
Yeah?
I don't know.
I have a killer MySpace account.
He'll talk to you.
Just dead silence.
Maybe later. I don't know. I have to just say this one part because he's done so many cool things, and I actually want to spend more time talking to him than about him. But he has done things like he became CNN's audience interaction producer, running social media and producing some of the first television programs that integrated digital platforms. And this season, he produced his first Broadway show, Harvey Fierstein's Torch Song. So I'm not going to read all of the rest of it. It could go on. He has a Wikipedia entry.
Yes,
go check it out. Thank you, Eric, for joining us today.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited. So
you guys met it.
Was my face like live as you did all of that?
No, now it's on though.
Oh, now we're on. Okay.
We got lots of cameras in this place.
You know, the question is, I feel like when people are talking about you or introducing you, there's that weird kind of like, what do I do? How do I? Hi? Yes, that's me. Yes.
And always like, where do you put your hand?
I know, like,
that's always the weird part. And when we're on Zoom,
yes.
right? That's how I'm doing this. So normally when I'm on Zoom, I'm not putting it attention because nobody sees my face. But now I see it.
Well, and to add to that, so yes, we've got this going on, but then Blake's doing all of this magic about all these different camera angles and stuff. So I just have no idea.
Graphics. Your name actually appeared under your face.
I know.
We have that technology.
Oh,
I
Blake!
know, the lower
it's
thirds.
always all about Blake.
Yes,
It is. Now he's
well, that's what I keep telling her. I keep telling her that.
You know what? He's so fast. He like got the secret real quick.
Yes.
All right. So
Well, thank you for having me on, and it's so fun to be here. And I know you and I met once over an epic weekend.
it was amazing.
Really, we had a really interesting conversation. You know, I think we had a really interesting conversation about FOMO.
Yes.
And
Is that
and
fear
how
of missing
associations
out?
tap into FOMO, and I think it's sort of, you know, even in the past year or two, we've just evolved so much in how people view technology and how people use technology. And so, like, I always say this, but like, not to be cliche, but what a great time to be alive.
It
right?
is.
I mean, there's so much happening.
It is. It's so amazing. And so, I mean, to that end, what's got you the most excited right now? I mean, what's really firing you up lately?
You know, I think in technology, right?
Yes.
I think, you know, I was thinking about this question, and, you know, there's AI, there's autonomous vehicles. You know, I still believe that we're trying to figure out what to do with blockchain.
Yeah.
And there's sort of, we're not there yet, but we're at early stages of it. But I gotta say, what actually really excites me about technology is that we're now finally having a really good dialogue about it in the country and around the world. And I think that kind of what excites me about technology is that we're using less of it, and that we're meeting in person. As you mentioned, I've started to produce theater. The notion that everyone's in the room and experiencing something together with their phones off is so beautiful and exciting. And so I'm excited by that we're having a dialogue of what it means to give your kid a phone early on, to not sleep in the same room as your phone, right? And I think always as technology advances throughout history, we've had to sometimes reset or have real conversations with this technology and what it means about this technology. I think we're at that point right now, and I think that's a really interesting point to be at.
I think you're right. I mean, I think it's no coincidence that like Marie Kondo with all of her stuff and everybody's talking about, you know, does this give me joy, and getting rid of all of the excessive, extraneous, stuff that's just out there. It kind of goes hand in hand with what's going on with technology, where we want the technology when we want it. You see that with voice. I want to be able to just speak to the air and make stuff happen, right? But I don't necessarily want to be tethered to it, checking it, craning my neck all the time to be invested in the phone. I want experience. I want to be, I want to be able to move about in my world with other human beings and like experience what's around me. And so it is a really interesting time because it feels like it's taken a long time to get to this point where we can start to make some healthy separations between our lives and our technology, And
I think, when we gave our speech together, we talked about FOMO, which is fear of missing out. And social media has it's advanced FOMO so much, right?
Yeah.
You never post the photo of you sitting at your desk on Instagram. That's boring, or like basic, as the kids say. And so, but I think we're actually I think we're having a conversation now, and it goes to what you just said about what brings me joy. I think we're having we want to focus on love now, right? It's like enough. We've been scared. I mean, we live in such a volatile, crazy time with so much news and information coming at us, and we're trying to figure out what's real and not, and so forth and so on. And I just, I think the ability to love and the ability for technology to foster that, or sometimes putting away technology to foster that, I think is great. That's what we should be focusing on, and that's what excites me.
Yeah, I think so too. It is kind of interesting the way that we have the ability to come together and figure out what our plans are in an easier way using technology. But now it's like, okay, yeah, like I don't want to be on my phone across from you on your phone the entire time, and let's just agree not to be those people, right? You know, and moving beyond it. I want to talk a little bit about, you know, what you've seen as far as how people are adapting and using technology in a way that helps them to, you know, maybe, I guess, do a better job of representing themselves to other people and representing their brands to other people. I think that what people expect online has changed quite a bit. And along with our discussions of FOMO, I think that people do expect a little bit different behavior from some of the celebrities and from some of the you know, influencers in the space compared to what it was in the early days. Do you agree? And if so, you know, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think, you know, it's something that I've always said, but I think now people, I think now people agree.
Did they not agree before?
Don't waste my time. Right.
Yeah.
And we have so many, remember in the early days, it was like, you know, companies who produced widgets said, oh my God, we need a Pinterest strategy.
Yeah.
And it's why do you need a Pinterest strategy? You're doing nothing there's nothing that's visual, right?
Yes.
And so, you know, I'm sort of guided by this cardinal rule, which is not to use technology for technology's sake, but use it for a purpose. And, you know, I even see it. I mean, we have so many TV shows that we have to watch, right? So when you watch a bad TV show, I get offended. I'm like,
me too.
You know, right? It's like, no, I don't have time for this. So I think that's what, you know, I really hope now that people think about, okay, don't create content. You know, I get asked all the time, well, how much should I tweet? How many Instagram posts per week?
6.
And the answer is it's not that it's good. Is it good? Is it good content? Is it content that represents your brand and aligns with your brand? And that's what you should be putting out. And right. I think we all got our, you know, we're done. You know, Facebook I think is turning 15 or just turned 15. Right. Yeah. It's like everyone's on it. We're on it. We know how to use it. We're now onto this phase where we should be creating great stuff and actually having a dialoguing conversation. I think if you're a organization or if you're a leader of an organization, that's what you have to be doing.
Mm-hmm. I think you're absolutely right. So do you think that there's still a place for some of the organizations that are saying, like, especially in the association realm, a lot of times there's some feelings that they don't want to invest necessarily right away in, you know, higher production quality, putting out the regular show or whatever. It doesn't have to be a show, but you know what I mean. Content that has a different sort of look or sound. Do you think that there's a place for people to do something that is more raw, or do you think it needs to necessarily be something with a high production quality if you are, say, a trade organization or, you know, any kind of a professional society that's out there?
You know, I'm gonna go back to what, you know, people want good content.
Yeah.
And good content can be $100 million blockbuster movie, mm-hmm. or I just came back from Sundance, or it could be $100,000 and a couple of kids, but who have a story to tell and a point of view. Yeah. Right. And that's obviously film and that's part of my background. But, you know, it's the same with an association. If you have something to say that's impactful and meaningful and will make a difference, then go and say it. And whether you flip open your iPhone or whether you do a Facebook Live or whatever it may be, great. And if you want to go into a studio and so forth and so on, there's so many high quality studio productions, you know, in ways that people communicate that are done so poorly. And there's so many, you know, off the cuff tweets, et cetera, that, you know, that, I mean, look, and this is not a political statement, but look at our president, right? Yeah. He sort of sits in his pajamas and tweets. It's as low form of content. And I mean, you know, it's just text as
no production
but it moves and people read it. And again, this isn't a Trump conversation, but I'm just sort of saying, like, it's not studio lights, hair and makeup, et cetera, et cetera. And then, you know, tonight is the State of the Union. And so he'll get his his $100 million show too.
Right.
So it's sort of just a matter of what it is.
Yeah, I agree. Have you jumped on the voice first train of like creating content for that, or looking at creating content for that yet?
Oh, totally. I mean,
Yeah.
I think you're the hostess with the mostest. When we had our little pre-call, you recommended a book and you sent me an Audible, and I wrote back, how do you know Audible is my favorite app? And I just listened to all the podcasts and all the books on Audible, and or you're in my office if you can see it, and I'm a voracious reader. I read so much, but the ability to listen now while you're on the go,
Yeah.
I love. I walk to work every day. I start my day with the Daily, and what that has done for the New York Times is incredible.
Yeah.
And so I absolutely, I absolutely think that's a great way. You gotta give me information. You gotta make it accessible. You can't really disrespect my time. And I think if you're doing that, and if you're giving me something that I want to listen to, I think that's great.
Well, I think that your point actually can't be bolded or underlined or remarked upon enough about doing something that makes a difference, because, my God, I mean, it's even cliche to talk about how noisy it is these days, with having so much out there. I mean, my watch is like, I've got the haptics, I've got like every sense is being assailed with like, all kinds of different types of information. Does that information like matter at all? And am I happy to get that kind of content, that kind of information delivered to me? I think we're getting really, really good at filtering, and whether it's ad blockers or whether it's figuring out how to cut out all of the, how to Marie Kondo all of the stuff we don't want in our life. We're trying, I think we're getting pretty good at that.
But isn't this a great opportunity for associations? Because, I mean, they should be the voice. They should be the one place you go to creating the content.
I mean, to curate, to provide a curated, this
curate
is the best
or make themselves, whichever.
Well, it could be. It could be. This is a really great question for Eric. I mean, what do you think? This is an opportunity for associations that are seen as sort of the voice of these specific
fill in the blank
industries, right? What do you think their role is in light of the fact that people are looking for ways to kind of cut away the clutter and cut away the noise?
And I think that's exactly right. And Blake, I think you bring up this it's so right. An association, and you're the worldwide expert on associations, but associations represent all these different voices. And so they have this unbelievable ability to talk, to create information that's relevant and not just create noise. Mm-hmm. And to be that filter and curator and whatever that looks like. And so I think that associations are, and that's what people want. People want, if you look at the Daily, which I just mentioned, or if you look at Axios, right? Or my favorite person to follow on Instagram to get news is Jessica Yellen, who was a former CNN correspondent, and her slogan is "News, not noise." Yes. And I think it's directly transitional into, or you can make the parallel into associations, right? People don't want noise. They want a single source that gives them real, filtered down, smart information. And I think that that's exactly where an association can sit, is they can be that voice for a whole slew of people. The other thing that I'd say, there's an incredible writer by the name of Bob Lefwitz, and he has an email and a podcast, and he wrote this column the other day that, and he's a music journalist, but what is the definition of being famous today and being an influencer today? And I think it's really interesting because associations, they don't have to reach everyone. They just have to reach the people that they are supposed to reach and their group. And so, the best thing that you can do in creating content, when I create content, I have a single person in mind and I try to reach that person, right? A general, either figuratively or literally, one type of person. And I think associations have that. They have that person that they can reach. And if the person creating the content, if the marketing team, and who, if that content isn't reaching them, then I think you got to go back to the drawing board. You got to say, okay, what is it that this type of person wants who does this? And right. I think you got to then give them that.
Yeah. I love that because, we have all of the capabilities to be super creative. I mean, the technology that we carry around with us, just one single person with a smartphone these days has more capability in recording video and sound and taking pictures and creating all of this content and distributing it like never before. Like if you would have given, I think about it, like if you think about like Orson Welles, like if you would have given Orson Welles this kind of like all of these little tools and gadgets, what would Citizen Kane have looked like? It's crazy. And yet these days we see people who are doing some of the similar things that he did with movie cameras, cutting holes in floors and like rigging up pulley systems and stuff to create interesting shots, And so I think it's fascinating that we have all of these wonderful tools, all of this great technology. And it's really the challenge is up to us as humans to create really good stuff. But with that, I mean, do we have an excuse to suck? I don't think so. I think
we do. Like the pen and paper's been around for how long? But you can still write a sucky book.
Yeah, I mean, I've been working at writing a real sucky book like for several years now.
Look, I think you know what I think. I think if you're an association or a company or a person, you have to allow yourself the ability to suck.
Yeah.
And because without having the ability, if you go into it saying we can't suck, then you really can't innovate.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what's incredible about technology is you learn pretty quickly. So it's not whether or not you can suck or not. It's whether or not you're listening to that audience and you're getting what they want out of you, right? And so I think that's the ability that technology gives is not that you should experiment, but you should also listen to that experiment. And also, I think there's this great notion of, and you'll know, right? If people aren't watching your videos, if people are tweeting at you, so on and so on, then you should be able to adjust. I think there's this great notion of art and science. Mm-hmm. And, at the end of the day, I think the ability to create art, but also, and this is videos, tweets, whatever it may be, theater, movies, etc. But the ability to create art and have a gut that says the audience is going to like that is a very cool skill that shouldn't always be overwritten by data. And so I think that so listen to that gut, but I think also listen to the data.
Yeah.
Listen to the data.
Listen to the data.
Listen to the data.
Yeah. Next to that point, next week we're having Ron Moen on.
Oh, here's the plug.
Yes.
Get to it.
Association Chat, and he's going to be talking about machine learning, AI, and what we can learn from data analytics to apply to associations. He's going to. Has my
friend Seth Godin come on?
He has.
Oh, we're buddies with Seth. He
was on. Yes. No, he's buddies with Seth. Actually, I think it was
we're all friends now.
Good. He's the best. I've read all of his books. They're all on my bookshelf. And his blog. And
he did a magic trick for us.
He did a magic trick for us.
I can do a magic trick.
I think he's just waiting to be asked or any excuse, right, to do a magic trick. Do the magic trick. Yeah.
Hey, I have a quick question. Eric, are you still in the repping business? The influencer repping?
Great. It's a great question. I only really, the answer is yes, but I really only represent a very few select clients who I really love and admire, and who have a point of view. One client that I've really been working hard for is Fabiano Caruana, who is the #1 chess player in America.
Oh my God.
And he was the first chess player since Bobby Fischer in 1972 to go to the World Chess Championship. It was a few months ago. He played extraordinarily well. Unfortunately, the very last second lost. But anyway, so I do, and I think he's unique and interesting, and I think I love telling people this story about chess and getting chess out there more. So I do represent a few people, but I certainly advise as a friend, a lot of friends But it's not my full-time job anymore.
That was my setup question for the real question, which is how many MySpace followers do I have to get you to be interested?
Oh, God. Blake he really wants your help, Eric. I can tell.
I mean, I have
really
hundreds
does.
of friends.
Do you?
Hundreds.
On MySpace?
No. And the serious question is, how many, in that world, in that universe, to get serious, how many people would have to, how many followers, how much influence do you have to get someone like yourself interested?
Look, I think that's a complicated question. I think, when I was an agent, it's what you do with those, and it's the crossover possibilities, right? Just because it depends why you're an influencer, and it depends what your talent is. And I always, I think it depends. And there's all these now new terms about, I don't want to sound old, all these new terms that the kids are using.
Terms these kids these days.
But like these micro influencers with like 5,000 to 10,000 followers. But I want to know, if I were to sign you, I want to know what your vision is, what you want to do. And can you kind of get off those platforms? You can certainly make money on those platforms, but I think that's a short lifespan or shelf space, and so people move on, and so I think it's a matter of are you talented in other places? Blake, you seem to have a great career in podcasting, but I haven't seen you yet, so I don't know if you have a face for television.
Oh man, he's asking to see you in. I think he needs to see you in action.
I can come on in there and get on the camera with you if you want.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Let's not do that.
It's
Blake.
her show. You're the producer.
Her name's on the show. I sit in the dark room and push the buttons.
He is the button pusher. That is for sure.
All right, so let's get back to association.
Let's talk about it, please. I want to find out a little bit about what you've seen that you think that association executives might be missing out on, or what you think that, an opportunity that you see that's out there that you're not seeing enough people pick up on right now.
Pinterest? No.
Okay. All right, you guys.
What is this bell? I want a bell.
Everyone says that.
Association.
Everyone says that who comes in.
Chat bell. I know.
Everyone says that. I don't want a bell.
I'll send you one.
Let's go back to creating content, because I think that's really interesting. And I think that sometimes associations can sort of sit up here in the ether and dictate and content, or sort of or talk down to people. And I think that the way that you get people engaged is to talk with them and to have a dialogue with them. And so I think no matter what platform you're on, or no matter how you're marketing to them, I think I think this is a weird, scary time. And I think a lot of people were reading reports about how jobs could be going away, even though we see record numbers and so forth, how jobs could be going away thanks to AI or different technology. I think people are scared in companies. Yeah. And I think that the role of the association should be to say, we like, and obviously they're not a union or something, but, to say, hey, we're in this with you, and we're going to help you through it.
Yes.
And I think that's a cool place that associations could be right now.
I think you're absolutely right. That is absolutely spot on.
We feel your pain.
Well, the thing is that associations, if we look to it, it's more than just associating. It's more than just connecting with. It is, how are you going to be that particular organization or that friend who's going to help move people along in whatever industry, so that, you could look at it as like a lifelong learning and networking. And a lot of people with like subscription boxes and all kinds of other types of for-profits are doing this, where they go in and they're like, come with us. We're going to send you these books. We're going to have these workshops, and we're going to provide this learning for you. And I'm thinking, associations, they should be doing that. They have this all built in already.
Yeah.
Why is not every single association thinking, I want to be producing this type of learning experience, podcast, or learning opportunity where we are cultivating our people with us?
Totally.
There you go.
There you go. All right. Well, that wraps the show.
All right.
Great. Thanks. Thank you.
Yeah, that was good.
By the way, I just took a sip of my coffee. I ordered a venti, and I realized it's like the entire screen. So luckily, your podcast listeners don't have to watch.
Well, we had you panned away.
But all your viewers on YouTube.
Yeah, but have you heard about the asthma stuff?
Oh, I'm good at it.
Yeah, I had to tell Blake about this, that ASMR stuff.
Associations need to know about this. You should tell them.
I know.
Tell us.
You know what this is? There are whole channels.
Dialogue. Tell us.
There are whole channels devoted on YouTube to people like, and oh God, and you're slurping into the thing. Yes, and like the nails on the stuff, and they'll say like, in this episode, I'm going to eat crab meat out of a lobster. You know, it's just it's like, wait, that didn't even make sense. Crab meat. But anyway, they whisper, and it's like this whispering and nails thing, and eating and chewing.
Blake, you know what you just did there with her voice?
Yeah, reverb.
So good. So my favorite app outside of Audible is Marco Polo. Do you guys know this app?
Yes.
What do I know? I don't. Tell me. I need it.
Oh, it's so great. It's like FaceTime walkie-talkies.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It is so much fun. I do it with all my friends, and you can make like images and faces and sounds.
Wait, so it's a separate app, or it's something I do on Facebook?
So no, it's not on Facebook. It's a separate.
It's called Marco Polo.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I could get on.
So
and
fun. It's terrible for productivity.
It is.
Why don't you and Kiki do it real quick?
Well, I'm actually sad that we're not on Marco Polo together, but I feel like after this, Eric. That
okay,
maybe...
we're gonna get on Marco Polo.
Hey, lightning round now. How can an association use Marco Polo?
They can't.
Oh, come on.
They can't. Not everything has to do with an association, Blake.
This is not about association.
Name of the show, Eric.
I know, but you know
what? Sponsors that expect it.
Let's get back to our question. Enough of the left turn.
Yes, I know. No, but it's true. I want to say before we move on, I want to talk about where things are headed, where associations are headed. We were talking about the ways that they can cultivate members, the way that they can inspire people, surely. But I want to get back to how you make it all work, because one of the things that our listeners are regularly dealing with is they're traveling all the time. They are visiting all types of different conferences. They're responsible for conferences. And you seem to do it all. I mean, you have great friends, you have a great career, you have a lot of interesting things that you're passionate about that you pursue, but also that you do for work. And there's this whole question about, well, how can you do it all? You have to sacrifice something. So
what do you sacrifice?
What have you sacrificed?
It's
a personal question. Yes.
Thank you. And that's very nice. As I've said, it always looks easier and better on Instagram.
Yeah.
Let's see. A few things that I'd say. I actually totally believe in sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And I am a very good sleeper. And I try to get a bunch of sleep at night. And then, I also believe, I have a great, dog beanie bag, over there that I sometimes take power naps in. And so, it's like in the shape of a dog. Anyway, so I'm a big believer in a quick power nap to keep you through the day. And Starbucks is my friend.
Mm-hmm.
And so, although I'll happily debate anyone, I'll have other coffee too. Starbucks is around the corner. So I went and got
easy.
it.
Yes.
But I think, I'm driven because none of it, I'm lucky enough that none of it feels like work, and I do everything that really is something that I love. And I also believe early on, and I learned this from my parents, the importance of doing it with people, and really sort of having great collaborators, and also having great friends, and having great support. And I think we're always, I think my friends and I are always in it together, and we're real and we're vulnerable. And I think you need people in your life who you can, who are okay with your success, who love your successes and who celebrate your successes, but also are sort of with you when it's not so great. Successful, when it's hard, or when you're failing, or when you're falling, and who aren't judgmental, but are really there to be with you. And so I think that's something that I really sort of focus on, and really try to cultivate. And I think there isn't, and that's really important. So I think doing work that you're passionate, excited about, and I'm endlessly curious. I always want to know sort of what's next, what's coming up. And so, to me, trying new things or doing new things, even if they might fail, is a cool thing for me. Something that I've done recently, and there was just an article in the New York Times about this yesterday, but is I've started to do these things called morning pages. So I write 3 pages every morning, and that's, I don't meditate, although I would like to. And I think it could be awesome, but this is like a form of meditation to sort of get your thoughts on a paper every morning. And so I try to do that every morning. And, it's funny because I don't do it every morning, but if I'm in the sort of mindset of trying to do it, and if I do it every other morning, or if I do, some weeks I do it, some weeks I'm busy, but at least I'm trying, and I'm working towards that. And so I'm sort of in that headspace every morning of, and I try to be present and to put my phone away. And I have really good friends who will yell at me when I'm on my phone at dinner or whatever it may be, because I think being present and actually engaging with the world now more is important. So, it's also a question that I think about every day, and that I'm refining my answer to every day. And so I always, how do you do it? You do it all. You have a daughter. It's like, it's incredible.
I don't do it all. And I do have to make choices on some of the things that I can and can't do. And I wish I could go, for instance, to a lot more networking things, and I can't, because I like meeting people. I like to meet a lot of different people. But I also I want to be present in my daughter's life. And I also have my own, when you work for yourself, you're never really not thinking about that stuff. But learning is so important. So I guess it's really like for you, where you set priorities and okay, if I let my sleep, or if I let my health or wellness slip, then I'm not going to be able to be good for my family, my friends, my business, or anything. So I've got to prioritize that. And it's a matter of, I guess, just making sure that your priorities are in order. One thing that I've been working on, especially, and the focus for February is for Association Chat is on community, is this idea of establishing what communities or what groups you're a part of. And I'm doing this with my friendships as well, and deciding where you want to commit, where you want to show up and build that relationship, or where you just need to, not string things along, or not have this dead weight kind of. And I say that because there are a lot of groups that, I'll join or something, things
waste your time,
and it's a waste of time, or it's just a drag on my psyche. I see this list of things over there that I'm not checking out, or I'm not looking at, and I'm thinking I'm not adding to that conversation, and it's just over there. It's, even if I ignore it, it's this mental clutter in the back of my mind. I know that at some point I said I was going to do something with it, and I'm not doing anything with it. And it's just,
I think Gail, I think either Oprah said it or Gail King said it about Oprah, but I think we're gonna say that I think Oprah says no is a full sentence.
Yes.
And I think I love that, right? I think the ability to say no is so important, and it's something that I work on every day, because I like to say yes, and I think people like us like to say yes, but I think we can't do, we really can't do it all. And so I think, obviously I'm breaking news. And so saying no and trying to figure out what is important, and having you time is important, right? I think
it is. Yes.
And so forth.
I think the no thing's really interesting. We had a call yesterday. I'm going to do this and then pair it back to associations. We had a call where I had a client yesterday, I believe, Kiki, begging me to move association chat and stuff like that. And I want to say yes. I want to help him out. But at the same time,
I'll kick your butt.
Exactly.
Yeah, yes.
but where I was going with this is in the association world, you have lots of members that might want different things from you.
Yeah.
And I think the ability to say either we don't. That's. I mean, I've seen it. I can't name names, but I've seen it where one member might be suing another member.
Well, and it is something where I think that actually it's good. It's good for you for all kinds of reasons to be able to establish healthier boundaries. But it's good for other people. I think people trust you more if you have clear boundaries about what you will or won't do. And I think there's certainly respect that comes from that, where it's like, okay, yeah, she's not going to do this type of work or for this type of money. It goes into negotiations too. So I think that it's an interesting thing, that the power of no.
Yeah, it's a whole sentence. Yeah. We've come to Oprah, by the way.
Yeah. And respect. I think respecting yourself and your time, and
yes,
I think is so important. And so the ability to say no isn't you actually be, it doesn't mean it's sort of important in the ability to do the other stuff that you've said yes to.
Well, and it allows you to say yes and really, really be there. I mean, you're saying that, you're making an effort to be present with the people in your life and not to be on your phone. But, if you say yes too often, you can't avoid it because you are checking in with this person and checking in on that thing. And it becomes very difficult to be present in any one moment of your life.
But I think the other thing,
you're overextended.
The other thing, too, that is when you first start out, though, I think you have to say yes a lot more to get in the door.
Probably.
So I got in that mindset of, all right, I'll take any gig. Like, I just want to get in there and keep working.
I get that, yeah.
So then you get to the point where now I'm freaked out, and especially after a recession, where it's like I would take any gig. I'd say yes to anything. But now, and I don't know if this applies to associations or not, but that's how I felt. And now it's like, okay, I can say no to that gig.
I think it can apply to associations, and I'll tell you how. I think that associations, especially if they see their membership faltering, I think that they immediately think of wanting to reach out to bigger and bigger swaths of people. Like, let's just make it so that we are more relevant to more people. And they don't think about niche, even beyond niching down. I saw like Chris Brogan put something the other day. It's beyond, niching down. It's like actually about getting real particular, getting very specific about who you're reaching out to. And I would say that that's true. I think that associations can learn by saying no and saying, yeah, we're not for all people. Maybe what we're for is we are for this particular group of people, right? And
I think if I can jump in, I think it's like
you can.
Not that,
I hope you do. Yes.
It's not, and Blake, I think your comment is really interesting and great. I think it's important that no matter where you are in life or in a corporation, as a corporation, you sort of have a mission statement and you have values that are important to you. And so, just to go, when you're starting out, if someone says, hey, you can make a lot of money, can you drop off these drugs? I hope you say no, not yes. Because
how much money?
You're driven by values and a mission statement, and obviously that's an extreme that that allow you to say no. And so I think that there's a fine line, but I think the more you hold yourself in as sort of in integrity, and the more that you define who you are and what you want, allows you to hone in and get what you want. But I think that's kind of important, and that can be extrapolated into social media, how you portray yourself in this world, because the small amount of right followers is better than a lot of people that don't interact or don't care with you.
It's such a good point. And actually, it's
that
kind
segue coming. Here we go.
Well, and so we have people who are asking questions on YouTube.
We don't have music for segues?
I know.
We do.
Where's it? So we have questions over on YouTube.
Of course we do, Jeff. I mean, Eric, who do you think?
Who are you talking to? Where's Jeff?
I have a Jeff up from
I don't
last
even
time.
know. Okay, so
it's a question, or we?
So we have questions over on YouTube coming in. And hi, John. Hi, Adele. And so John says, question for Eric, how does he manage his network of relationships in terms of keeping up with folks he's recently met and also remembering and investing in more longer tenured relationships?
Who asked that question?
This was John Exley.
John Exley.
Yes. Who's a big fan of yours. Yes.
John, thank you. You know what? I always, now I'm totally embarrassed. My favorite growing up as a kid was I don't know, I'm a news junkie, was Larry King. So I want to be like, John, you're on the phone with Larry King. From Detroit. Hello.
Okay. Love Larry King.
Hello.
Oh my God. All right. I'll never be invited back again.
You might be my favorite guest of all time. I'm just saying.
More than Seth.
It's such a great question. And it was something that I actually was gonna say also. I think knowing your expectations, I think, is important too. So you don't set too high of expectations. So when I go to an event or something, I try to get one good relationship out of it.
Me too.
So then you're not always looking over that person's shoulder. You're not, you're not disappointed when you only come home with 2 business cards and not a stack of 10.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always try to go to somewhere. I go, you know what? I'm going to find that one person who is really, really important and going to change my life. And I think if you set that expectation, you could probably meet that expectation if you put yourself in the right place. New people I meet, it depends. It depends. It sort of depends on the circumstances. It depends on sort of everything. I have sort of stopped giving out business cards, in part because I am responsive on social media. So it's easy to get to me. But also, from sort of a networking standpoint, I collect all the business cards and then I email you, and I go through it. I'm staring at business cards on my desk right now. But I want people to respond back, or I want people to, you got to sort of show interest. And it kind of goes both ways. Like I have to show, we both have to meet at the same point. People ask for, calls or thoughts or emails. I think it has to align. It has to make sense.
Mm-hmm.
We all get these emails where it's like, wait, do you even know what I do? What business I'm in? Like, why are you pitching chairs? I'm not in construction, or so forth. So, I think being really thoughtful of people's time, and it goes back to wasting time with bad content. It's important not to waste my time. I really believe in long-term relationships. I'd like to say, I'm still friends with my kindergarten teacher.
I think I watched when I was doing some research today. I watched some. I like to go back and watch old videos of the people who are coming on. I think I saw you gave a commencement address.
Oh, you were watching the high school
at your old high school. Yeah, I was playing that before.
That's what you were playing. I heard that.
Yeah, and an interview where you were called the father of influencers, and yeah, I think I've been going through your playlist. Not even on your channel. I've been going through the best stuff.
Yeah, I mean. Yes. By the way, doing the commencement address, I really am so. I so believe. I so stand on other people's shoulders, and I hope to make an impact on other people, as well, and so I'm such a big fan of finding mentors, of getting mentors for people. And you don't need a lot, you just need 1 or 2.
Mm-hmm.
And people that you look up to and admire. I think surrounding yourself with those people are so important. So it was really just one of the biggest honors to give that commencement speech, because the ability to go to the place that I grew up and that I love and that shaped me and built me.
Yeah.
In so many respects, and say thank you to all these amazing teachers was unbelievable. So it was a great time.
Yeah.
Awesome. Is there more people on there?
And by the way, the theme of that speech was don't take no for an answer.
Was it really? Don't take no. So you were actually giving people an argument for what you're saying we should do now. Yeah.
Don't take no for an answer, but yeah.
But now say no. Say no a lot more.
He's more mature now. He's got a new philosophy.
Yeah, we can grow. We're allowed to do that.
Now he just says no all the time.
Yeah. And he knows what the answers are going to be back.
Well, by the way, it's from a different point of view. Yeah. I think when you're starting out, it's that you can say no, but if you want something, that's
don't give up. Be persistent.
Don't give up and don't take no for an answer. And that, I mean, you and I and so everyone gets no's thrown at them.
Oh yeah,
because that's the world that we live in, and you can't let that stop you and stop what you want. And that was really the theme of it.
Yeah. A friend of Adele who's watching, I know that the last message I had from her through a chat was persistence is key. So more on that, right?
I love that Adele is one of your fans. I'm such a big fan of her.
I know. And she's so busy.
I know.
Her singing career.
My gosh.
Hello, Adele.
There you go.
Hey.
So, okay, before you say what you're going to say, Blake.
What am I going to say?
I want to ask one more question.
Because you have a mug to give away.
I do have a mug to give away. Oh, okay. My gosh, you are so pushy. So
50 minutes.
So, what I wanted to ask you is, what are your favorite resources to go to for ongoing inspiration? And, is there something is there like a list of like magazines, podcasts, newspapers? What is it that you go to on a fairly, regular basis to get inspiration from?
So I try to mix it up. I'm pretty, I read almost everything. I get magazines from so many different sources. I think innovation is sort of the crossroads of different fields. And so I'm always trying to, I get this from my grandmother. I tear stuff out of magazines. And so I read sort of everything from People to The Economist. And obviously I don't read every word of it, but, cause that's crazy, but I do. You have to have, there's obviously that great book mindset. You have to have a growth mindset, right?
Yes.
And so even when I'm, I was at breakfast yesterday and we finished and she was telling me something about something new. And I said, okay, well, what's your favorite book on that topic? And so I started my career as a reporter. I like to think I'm still a reporter. So I'm always asking people who I come across, hey, what do you think? What do you, what's going on? When we created Layer 3, we had retail stores and I would just walk in a sweatshirt and ask them questions and stuff. So I do a lot of research myself, and I'm always out there and I'm asking people. Most of my friends are always so embarrassed when they go out with me because I'll stop people on the street and be like, oh, where'd you get that? Whatever, or do you like that? Or what do you think of this? God forbid you're in a movie theater with me where I have even more questions.
I can't take Eric anywhere.
So I think that's I'm kind of and it's something that everyone obviously can do is I think the thing about a marketer, and that's what we all are, and I think the people who are listening to this podcast are marketers, or video or any which way you're watching this or listening, is to understand the consumer, and so and whoever that consumer is, and so to be with those consumers, to understand those consumers, to ask them questions is so important, and to always be in touch with them. And so I think my biggest inspiration are from the people who are around me, but they're always, but they can sort of be anywhere, and I really try to see them and watch them and sort of be in it. As you mentioned, I've started to produce a little bit of theater, and I was at a show recently, and I ended up watching the faces of people a little bit more than the show, because I wanted to understand how they were reacting. And I think that's really important too. So I think, I don't know, I'm inspired by people.
Yeah.
I'm inspired by you.
I'm inspired by you.
I'm inspired by you. Love
We're
it, man.
inspired by
I haven't
each
met you,
other.
but I'm sure I'm inspired by you too.
I'm inspired by you.
You're making me look and sound okay, so like I'm inspired by
Yes, I know. This is the thing that we always love about
you.
Blake.
Oh my God, did I call you Derek? Blake, sorry.
Sure. No problem, Jeff.
I'm inspired by Blake. I know it was just a slight because you mixed up mine.
Oh my gosh, you
All
guys.
right, Shirley. You ready, Shirley?
I'm ready. All right, Jones. All right, so I wanted to say, this is your chance, folks. This is your chance. If you want an association chat mug,
Don't we
and I
dance while we do
know
this?
you do. This is my dancing. I know you're jealous. If you want an association chat mug, and I know you do, then you have to tweet us with the hashtag about how much you love association chat using the hashtag
It's up on the screen.
Association Mug Life.
Mug
Kind of like
Life.
Thug Life, but it's Mug Life. We're going to do that. And so if you tweet us, I will get back to you. And we're giving out 5 association chat mugs this week.
Isn't there a time limit? Don't they have to do it by the end of the show or something?
It's almost at the end of the show. So you have to do it by the end of the day.
End of the day.
Frankly, if you're using the hashtag Association Mug Life,
You'll probably
you
get
deserve
one.
a mug. So go ahead and tweet us with
So, Eric,
Association
get on there.
Mug
Get your
Life.
mug.
Yes. And what's more is come back next week so that you'll be able to find out even more great knowledge. Eric, where can they find more information about you?
Wait, I want a mug.
We'll just
Oh,
tweet
I will
it.
send you
Did
a
you not hear
mug.
the instructions?
Yes.
I have you can't see it, but I have a whole slew of mugs here. I'm a big mug fan.
What kind of mug?
Hold it up.
Well, here I have one from Twitter. Here's
Is that one of
Larry.
your? Do you like that shape? Do you like? I mean, mugs.
Mugs
they're
are-
all-
they're
Do you like a
subjective.
tumbler or do you like the?
No, I don't discriminate against mug shapes.
Yeah, I think it's
I
good
don't-
to
I
be
don't-
all inclusive on mugs. Me too.
I'm all inclusive on mugs. What was your question? How can they find me? I mean,
Yeah.
you can tweet me at KUHN.
Yes.
You can follow me on Instagram, Eric J. Kuhn.
Yes.
You know, you can say hello any which way.
All
you
the
can send up a
socials.
flare.
Yes. And
My
we know
social
that we.
security number is no, just kidding.
You don't even hand out. He doesn't even hand out business cards
No.
anymore. So you better be.
You give him one. You hope he
That's
emails
right.
you.
That's right.
Actually, you know what? To be honest, I'm really thinking about that because there was actually someone I wanted to get my business cards to, and I was like, I don't have any, and so I'm actually going to order some. Yeah,
Yeah.
Go on,
So we're
move.
rethinking the business cards.
we're rethinking the business cards. Look at this. We're an
No.
hour in, and I'm rethinking my entire life.
Oh, Mike, he's going to need therapy after
All
association
right.
chat.
I know. I'll send you a mug, and then you can drink something that will be like therapy.
Therapy is Thursday. This is Tuesday. Don't mix it up.
Thank you so much for joining us, Eric. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Blake, for making us look good. And no, but seriously, thank you. I know you're such like a leading voice in this entire world, but in this world, and so you're. I love it. I love following you. I love seeing what you're doing and listening to this podcast. So it's really, I'm thrilled when you asked me to be on.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right. So let's wrap it up. Are you going
Wrap
to
it
press
up?
the button?
No, I can press the button. Do we
pusher?
have to do anything else? Is there any more
I think we
announcements or
did
anything
it.
like that?
Yeah.
All right, here we go then.
All right.
Thanks for listening to Association Chat, produced by Amplified Growth and Human Factor. For more information on Amplified Growth, go to amplifiedgrowth.net. And for more information on making podcasts for your association, go to Human Factor at humanfactor.net. To hear past episodes, go to the Association Chat YouTube channel and subscribe. See you soon!